It was a sun-drenched Saturday afternoon in the lavish three-story loft belonging to Darian Sterling's family in Tribeca, New York. The rich aroma of slow-braised oxtails, a dish Tammy Vance had perfected, lingered in the air. 3 years into her marriage to Darian, Tammy bustled about, setting the table with practiced agility. Though she performed her duties flawlessly, a painful truth was undeniable. She was not respected in this house. Mrs. Evelyn Sterling, her mother-in-law, MIL, slammed a serving bowl onto the table. Her voice, sharp and piercing, cut through the quiet. "The food is fine, but it's too country, too down home. Women these days are competent. They know global markets. They work in tech or finance. But you, apart from the kitchen, you're useless." Tammy just smiled, bowed her head slightly, and meekly replied, "Yes, I'll try harder, Mother. Please keep giving me advice." Mrs. Sterling continued her barrage. "I think you fit better here keeping house than working. The Global Synergy Group is a place where international business happens. If you opened your mouth there, no one would understand your simplicity." Darian intervened, his tone serenely mocking. "Mama's right. If a document needs signing for the company, just sign it. I know everything already. You don't master the languages of trade. You wouldn't understand what you're reading." An uncomfortable silence filled the room. Tammy, recovering her composure, replied, "Yes, honey, whatever you say, I'll listen." The scorn continued. Mrs. Sterling emphasized that Tammy lacked Mandarin, Japanese, or French, cementing her image as unlearned. The words were heavy, but Tammy maintained a faint, serene smile. She was a person who knew how to wait for the right moment. Late that night, the house silent, Tammy sat at her laptop. In her inbox were more than 10 emails from foreign partners, written in complex technical Mandarin and Japanese. If anyone had seen this scene, their jaw would have dropped. The woman deemed unsophisticated and unlearned was rapidly scanning the complex characters. She translated into English directly in her mind with fluidity. The next email in French, she understood perfectly. The third in Japanese, she read without skipping a word. She opened the presentation file for the next board meeting, a mix of technical financial English and Mandarin. She could have revolutionized the entire Global Synergy Group with a single presentation in 4 languages. But she closed her laptop with a decisive click. "It's not yet time to reveal it," she murmured. "Let them underestimate me. The moment will come when they can no longer stand." The next morning, Tammy Vance, maintained her facade as the dutiful, unassuming wife. She arrived at the Global Synergy Group headquarters as usual. However, upon reaching the 12th floor, she heard clear laughter coming from the hallway. Standing close to Darian Sterling was a young woman in a tight red dress with long wavy hair and perfectly applied makeup. This was Lenora Banks, Darian's new executive assistant. "This is Lenora, my new assistant," Darian said with self-satisfaction. "She looks like a model, but she's very obedient. She dabbles in languages. She's trying." Lenora greeted Tammy, her gaze sharp, scanning Tammy from head to toe, viewing her like someone of a lower caste. Tammy only replied softly, her serene voice momentarily disarming Lenora. The murmurs spread quickly. The new assistant was very affectionate with the boss, and anyone who didn't understand the affair must be blind. Tammy heard it all, but she didn't react. She walked slowly, her eyes recording everything. At dusk, during an important meeting with Asian investors, Darian introduced Lenora as the translator. Lenora, flustered, misread the first sentence, then stumbled and completely missed the mark on two more paragraphs. Her error was so grave that the financial data was completely distorted, causing the partners to doubt the capability of Global Synergy Group. Darian rushed to intervene, blaming the error on his new assistant and asking the partners for a little patience with her. He then reassured Lenora in a low voice, "Don't worry, I'll handle it. You just have to be by my side. Leave these things to others." The phrase, "be by my side," resonated, sweet but full of intentions. The meeting concluded amidst embarrassment. Employees muttered, "What kind of assistant translates worse than a college intern? I don't know what the hell she did to Darian to get him to choose her." That night, Darian came home agitated. He threw a thick folder onto the dining table, demanding Tammy's assistance. "Sign these papers," he instructed brusquely. "They are power of attorney documents, so I can attend the shareholder meeting in your place. You wouldn't understand. Just sign." Tammy realized the content was not simple. Hidden within the dense legal jargon were agreements for the transfer of equity interests, voting rights, and complex financial clauses. If she signed, she would be digging her own grave. "I really don't understand," Tamian replied meekly. "Whatever you tell me to sign, I'll sign. Whatever you say, I'll listen." Darian looked at her with satisfaction, calling her obedient. Tammy signed the last 3 pages, marked with small yellow sticky notes, but her hand trembled because she knew she had just touched an important link. She handed the folder back. "Keep them safe. I'm very clumsy with these things." Later that night, with Darian showering, Tammy opened the folder and meticulously photographed every page. She sent the images to an anonymous email she created, addressed to Mr. Owen King, a famous and discreet financial lawyer. The subject: urgent review. Please review this. The next night, the small guest house on the Tribeca estate was silent. While Darian Sterling went to shower, Tammy Vance had secretly photographed the documents he made her sign, including the transfer of equity interests and voting rights. She had sent the files to Mr. Owen King, the specialist financial lawyer. A ping sounded on her laptop, the reply from Mr. Owen King. She opened it, and the confirmation was immediate. "It is not a power of attorney to attend the shareholders' meeting, but a power of attorney to transfer the entirety of your shares to a third party. Very dangerous. According to the law, if not opposed within 7 days, the transfer will be considered legal." Tammy realized Darian hadn't just tried to deceive her, he was attempting a full-scale theft of her family's wealth. The transfer was not going to Darian, but to Lenora Banks. That night, the lights were still on in the main house. Tammy moved silently down the stairs and heard her mother-in-law, Mrs. Evelyn Sterling, speaking in the study. "You have to make sure about the stock matter. That girl, Lenora, must become the holder of those votes to ascend to a higher position within Global Synergy Group." Mrs. Sterling was cold and deliberate. Tammy stopped halfway up the stairs. She heard Darian reply, very sure of himself. "Relax, Mama. I already tricked Tammy into signing everything. The poor thing knows nothing. You put something with big words in front of her and she goes blank. She signed instantly." Mrs. Sterling laughed mockingly. Darian continued, his voice casual but cruel. "She spends the day in the kitchen. To anyone she sees, she says, 'Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.' That type of person was born to be in the background. She's not fit to be a shareholder. They confirmed the entire plot. The shares Tammy signed would pass to Lenora after the meeting. Then Darian would divorce Tammy, stating, by then, she won't have anything in her hands. The divorce will be settled then. Tammy's anger accumulated up to her neck, waited for its chance. She silently reached into her pocket and activated the voice recorder on her phone, aiming the microphone toward the study. Mrs. Sterling added a final instruction. Remember to tell Lenora to keep her mouth shut until the meeting ends. Tammy saved the audio file, a clear, undeniable recording of conspiracy to defraud with the intention of misappropriation. The next morning, Tammy met with Mr. Owen King at a discreet cafe. She handed him the folder of documents and the phone with the recording. Proof of fraud. Mr. King listened to the recording and his face turned cold. He confirmed, "This recording is proof. It demonstrates there was a conspiracy to defraud with the intention of misappropriation." The strategy. Tammy looked him directly in the eyes. "I want them to pay for underestimating me. I will unmask them myself at the shareholder meeting." The new identity. Tammy revealed she was not the simple wife Darian believed. She was the heir to 15% of Global Synergy Group shares from her biological father, kept in an independent stock account. Mr. King was impressed. "Good. I'll prepare everything. You just need to keep calm and keep making them believe you know nothing." The conspiracy was now undeniable, confirmed by the audio recording and the lawyer's report. Tammy Vance knew she had to endure one last public humiliation to ensure her enemies, Darian Sterling and Lenora Banks, remained confident in their victory. The shareholder welcome gala was a luxurious event at the Global Synergy Group headquarters. Tammy, dressed elegantly but simply, walked beside Darian. Lenora Banks made a deliberate entrance in a tight red dress, immediately taking Darian's arm in front of the crowd. Tammy approached the wine table. Lenora, aiming to test the limits of the country wife, moved closer with a triumphant smile. Clack! The sound of glass colliding. Red wine splashed all over Tammy's white dress. Lenora feigned panic. "Oh, how clumsy you are! I was trying to dodge you and you brought the glass so close." Everyone watched. Darian immediately blamed Tammy. "Aziza, what are you doing?" Tammy maintained her composure. She gently dabbed the wine stains with a silk scarf, her movements slow and serene. Her serenity made the room pause. She looked directly into Lenora's panicked eyes. "Be more careful. The floor is slippery. It's easy to fall." The phrase, though light, made Lenora choke. Tammy's calm demeanor made Lenora feel as if she was the one being observed. Later, on the back balcony, Tammy's friend Ayana found her and immediately expressed her indignation. "Tammy, I'm asking you seriously. You understand everything they're saying, right? The technical stuff, the languages, and yet you stood there while Lenora humiliated you like that?" Ayana's voice cracked with indignation. "The more they think I'm incompetent, the more mistakes they'll make," Tammy replied softly. She revealed her strategy. Resigning is not keeping silence. Sometimes silence is to see how far they want to go. I need them to get confident. I need them to think I can't read a few lines of legalese, so they reveal what they're hiding. The next day, the public humiliation continued. Lenora sent an email to the entire company inbox, complaining that because Mrs. Tamara Vance does not command technical languages, the recent processing of partner documents has encountered difficulties. Mrs. Evelyn Sterling screamed over the phone, "A daughter-in-law so ignorant! Do you know the shame you caused this family?" Darian later told Tammy in front of everyone, "Tammy, go home so people don't keep gossiping. I can't explain it." Lenora smiled triumphantly. That night, Tammy took a decisive action. She packed her bags. She was moving out. Darian found her packing and pleaded, "Tammy, what are you doing? Let's go back to the room to talk. Don't exaggerate like this." Tammy closed the zipper of her suitcase and turned around. "I am not abandoning my husband's house. I am abandoning a traitorous husband." She pulled away from Darian's hand smoothly. Her voice was cold and sharp. "Once I let you guide me, once I believed you knew what was best for both of us. But starting today, I will guide my own life." She took the suitcase down the stairs, the sound of the wheels resonating as if she were destroying all the falsehoods of that house. Ayanna waited outside. Tammy smiled slightly, determined. "This is no longer my place."
Tamara Tammy Vance had made her decisive exit, abandoning the Tribeca loft and the illusion of her marriage. She now stayed at her friend Ayanna's apartment, preparing the final legal blow against Darian Sterling and the Global Synergy Group. Lenora Banks, the mistress, was losing control. She had failed to secure Tammy's shares and was under scrutiny from the board's HR department. To regain public sympathy and pressure the company, Lenora attempted a final, ruthless public humiliation, a performance designed to frame Tammy and Darian's mother as her harassers. That night, Lenora unexpectedly did a live stream on her personal profile. The lighting was dim, her face swollen, and her voice broken. Crying, she recounted, "I was harassed at the company. I'm just a small employee, and they forced me to do things beyond my capabilities. No one protected me. They threatened me psychologically. I'm very scared." She created a public opinion storm, deliberately implying that Tammy and Mrs. Evelyn Sterling were behind the harassment that led to her departure. The video spread with unusual speed. Ayanna was furious, calling Lenora shameless for manipulating public opinion. Tammy, however, was calm. She recognized Lenora's strategic move. She has chosen to pressure public opinion, but by doing so, she is digging her own grave. Tammy had one final piece of evidence saved on her phone: the recording from the stairs. This recording, taken after the shareholder gala, captured Lenora's true face when Cammy cornered her. Lenora, panicked, admitting Darian forced me to participate in the plot, only to quickly retract and threaten a scene. Tammy sent the recording to the Global Synergy Group's board of directors, accompanied by a brief report. The content was concise. Employee Lenora Banks deliberately provided false information and attributed responsibilities to management. It is requested that an investigation report be opened. The response was immediate. 10 minutes later, the chairman's secretary replied, "Tomorrow, we will invite Miss Lenora Banks to a meeting to draw up a report immediately." Ayanna was stunned. "My God, you are too slick." Tammy knew she was simply cleaning the structure. The more trouble they cause, the more tracks they leave. I just follow the trail of what they themselves have created.
The stage was set for the extraordinary shareholder meeting of the Global Synergy Group. Tamara, Tammy Vance, had made her final decisive move, destroying the public image of the mistress, Lenora Banks, and cutting off contact with her husband, Darian Sterling. The atmosphere in the large meeting room was heavy, like a courtroom. Mrs. Evelyn Sterling and Darian were overly confident. Darian had told his mother, "I already told Lenora to act at the right moment. As soon as she reads the power of attorney, everything will be legal." The meeting began. Chairman Cornelius Vance announced that the person owning 15% of the shares was requested to confirm their presence. Lenora Banks stood up with a slender figure, heading directly to the stage. "Yes, Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Tammy Vance has granted me power of attorney to represent her at today's meeting." Murmurs rose, and Darian smiled sideways, believing everything was in the palm of his hand. Just as the chairman was about to sign the confirmation, a decisive click sounded at the auditorium door. Tammy entered. She wore an elegant black dress, her expression serene, but her gaze so cold it made the whole first row turn to look at her. Darian jumped up, attempting to maintain composure. "Tammy, what are you doing here?" Tammy didn't look at him. She walked straight to the podium, the sound of her heels resonating on the stone floor. She took the microphone and spoke in flawless Mandarin. "Good morning, everyone." The Asian shareholders straightened up immediately. She switched to fluent, crisp English. "I have never authorized anyone to represent me." Her gaze swept over Lenora with terrifying coldness. "All documents with my name were signed under deception." Lenora turned white, stammering, "No, it can't be. You signed." Tammy countered. "Do you want me to project the recording of the conversation in my husband's home on the big screen?" The chairman, shocked, suspended the meeting. Darian slumped in his chair, his back soaked in cold sweat. When the legal counsel returned, the chairman announced, "The power of attorney has clear signs of fraud. All documents used in today's meeting are void." Tammy stepped forward. She looked directly at Lenora. "I want Miss Lenora Banks to publicly apologize to the company for her dishonesty and for having affected the meeting." Lenora, cornered, admitted to following Darian's instructions, but refused to apologize. The board, having seen her incompetence, voted to dismiss her. Lenora grabbed her purse and left with trembling legs. Darian approached Tammy, panic replacing arrogance. "Tammy, I was wrong. Can you listen to me?" Tammy's voice was so cold that Darian stopped. "You and I, from today, do not share the same path." Later, at the extraordinary shareholder meeting convened to address the financial fraud, Darian, desperate, knelt before Tammy. "Tammy, I was wrong. I beg you to give me a chance." Tammy looked down at him. "The chance was by your side. I waited for you to see it, but you yourself threw it away." The shareholders voted 100% to permanently dismiss Darian Sterling from his position as VP.
The vote was unanimous. 100% of shareholders agreed to the permanent dismissal of Darian Sterling. The great project Darian and his mother, Mrs. Evelyn Sterling, had meticulously built, the humiliation and the conspiracy to steal shares, collapsed completely. Darian's exit. Darian was escorted by security out of the building. His walk was heavy, his shirt wrinkled, and his face stunned, as if he no longer had the strength to resist. The murmurs of contempt behind him. "That's the price of ambition. Such a VP is really disappointing," were the final nails in his coffin. He had been a golden talent, but now he was a disgraced defendant.
Lenora's flight. The mistress, Lenora Banks, had already fled Atlanta. The investigation against her was temporarily suspended due to her flight. The corridor emptied, and Tammy Vance, the true victor, stood calmly amidst the silence. She was not exhibiting victory, she had simply recovered her honor. Late in the afternoon, Chairman Cornelius Vance went to look for her directly in her temporary office. "Mrs. Tammy Vance," the chairman said, his face serene, "the board has agreed to offer you the position of executive director of the investment unit." Tammy was slightly surprised, but quickly recovered her composure. "Your command of languages, your financial vision, and your serenity are very impressive." Tammy replied, "Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will strive not to disappoint your expectations." The chairman smiled with full confidence. "I believe you are the future of Global Synergy Group." The next morning, Tammy entered the international meeting room. She no longer showed the patient and reserved attitude of previous days. Her eyes were confident, her posture upright and defined. She opened the documents and began the meeting with fluent English. Then she switched to Mandarin, French, and Japanese. Every language was clear, natural, without a single stumble. The faces below, foreign directors and shareholders, went from surprise to profound respect. "She is really exceptional," a Japanese director whispered. Tammy, standing on the podium, looked at the crowd. "When people underestimate you," she said, summing up her long journey of patience, "that is the moment you have the opportunity to surpass them." The lights illuminated her hair, and in that instant, Tammy truly stepped out of her own shadow. Did you like the story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.